Okay guys, this is a continuation of my carburetor rebuild. So what's happening is as this is an automatic, so the biggest problem I have is fast idle sits around 1,000 to like possibly 1,300 RPM, and when you put the car in drive you get this jolt. So what I've been trying to do on this particular car is trying to get the idle as down as possible to get it to run properly. Now, what I did take it out for a couple of test drives, and what I found was that as the car gets to normal operating temperature, the temperature compensators open up and allow more air into the chamber, which weakens the fuel mixture. But a consequence of this is that the idle speed goes up. So people say do the tuning at idle, do the tuning at full operating temperature, get your speed correct, engine speed, and it all should be good. The biggest problem that I'm facing is that I adjust when it's operating temperature, normal operating temperature, I adjust the speed to about 800. This is an automatic, so 800 to maybe 700. And the thing is, when you engage in gear and automatic, it typically, what I see in my car anyway, going by the gauges, if let's say I'm at 800 RPM, I put it in drive, the RPM drops to maybe 700. So I'm trying to still find that sweet spot of how low I can get the RPM to go down without the car stalling. So again, what's been happening is I mess around with the carburetors, think normal operating temperatures when I can put the choke in, but that's not the case. I take the car for a long run, and then all of a sudden the idle speed has gone up. And someone did explain it to me, but it was still complicated. But anyway, he says that it's a normal thing that the idle speed does go up once it's normal warm. So as mentioned, what I'm going to be experimenting with. So other folks have said, why not just block off the temperature compensators? And so what I'm going to do as an experiment is, and they say by blocking them off, you can just open the cover and tighten the nut so they don't open. That's that little plunger there. You can see that opens. Someone else suggested to just put a piece of gasket and block it off. So I do have a hole punch, inexpensive hole punch I bought, and I'm just gonna plug this over here and I'm gonna put it in, and I'm hoping, even though these open and close, that my idle speed, once it's nice and running temperature, not idle temperature, running temperature, that the idle won't go up. I can still keep it at 100. Now obviously temperature compensators, it seems like they were developed for emissions issues. In fact, I met a fellow Triumph owner. He has a TR4. He has a CD 175 carburetors. They don't have compensators, they don't have bypass, they don't even have a vent valve. So I'm like thinking, it's possible we can eliminate all these. In my particular case, these are Federal Stag carburetors. This is a bypass valve, and I've actually blocked these off. So that's one of the recommendations some folks have said to do. These carburetors were used on TR6s. I've been on a couple of forums of TR6s. Earlier, even someone has suggested block off the temperature compensators, but on my other Stag, which is sitting over there, that's a manual. I don't have it a problem, but I've realized that the behavior of the carburetors on a manual can be more forgiving than on an automatic. And if you have an automatic, be happy to get your input. But definitely I'm finding that I'm having to fine-tune these and make these run better than in a manual. With the manual, you can, if you have idle high, you just mess around with your clutch and accelerator, and you're good to go. You can get a smooth run. But with the automatic, you get this clunk, and that's what you're trying to avoid. Well, that's what I'm trying to avoid anyway. Also, someone suggested to modify this profile of this cam, so as you pull the choke out more and more, instead of increasing the idle speed, you can maintain it at a certain speed. I may look into that, but for this week's experiment, I'm going to block off the temperature compensators, take it for a drive, and see how things go. So that's my bit for today.